but now I'm just pissed off with my dad. My dad tried to fucking... He stuck his dick in my ass.
On the floor in the tiles.
Steeds meer mensen zeggen ritueel misbruikt te zijn. Het zijn verhalen over duivelse verkleedpartijen, massale mishandelingen en verkrachtingen en in het ergste geval over het offeren van mensen. Een van de getuigenissen komt van Tim. Ruim 30 jaar lang durfde hij niet te vertellen welke gruwelen hij als kind moest ondergaan. Een voorbeeld is een 7e verjaardag. Een feest dat werd georganiseerd door zijn vader. Een dag vol verschrikkingen.
I was face down, my legs hanging down. I saw some of the men queuing up in front of me. The one in the front came towards me and forced his erect penis into my mouth. At the same time, another was putting something into my anus. They carried on and on. Every man in the room either forced me to have oral sex or buggered me. Every single one of them ejaculated over me. I was scared stiff, crying, totally helpless. It seemed to go on for hours.
Ongeloofwaardig, dat denk je als je de getuigenis van Tim hoort. Maar dat dachten we ook toen de eerste verhalen over incest naar buiten kwamen. Scotland Yard heeft in ieder geval een aparte afdeling opgericht om ritueel misbruik te onderzoeken. Inmiddels zijn ook artsen, psychiaters en andere deskundigen gealarmeerd geraakt.
I still feel guilty. Dirty, disgusting, and ashamed over this. First of countless times it happened to me. Over the years, other boys were used like me, by the side of me, and eventually by me. I can't forgive myself for continuing with this for years afterwards.
Uit analyse blijkt dat de slachtoffers uiteindelijk zelf daders worden. Een patroon dat heel moeilijk te begrijpen is.
All Satanists have been abused as children. All. There is not, I can't imagine any normal person going into something so horrific, vile, disgusting, so violent, humiliating. Could possibly, it's impossible.
Voormalig politiearts Jim Phillips heeft nu een eigen praktijk in Birmingham. Daar begeleidt hij mensen die ritueel misbruikt zijn.
As the children disclosed, I became more and more distressed at what they were telling me. And not a little frightened myself, in fact, because they were telling me things that you only saw in horror films and read in fictitious books.
Diana Core werkt voor Child Watch, een organisatie die opkomt voor misbruikte kinderen. Ze is zelf slachtoffer geweest van incest. Nu staat Diane internationaal bekend om haar deskundigheid op het gebied van ritueel misbruik. Ritueel misbruik, oftewel satanische misdaden, worden mogelijk in georganiseerd verband gepleegd, vaak in het diepste geheim. Soms weten mensen zelfs niet dat hun eigen partner satanist is. Zo ontmoeten we de 40-jarige Jenny, moeder van 3 kinderen. Ze leefde jarenlang samen met een man die, zonder dat zij het wist, hun kinderen ritueel misbruikte. De waarheid kwam naar boven toen de man 3 weken in de cel moest omdat hij Jenny had gemolesteerd.
One of the first things, Mummy, you've got a box on top of the cupboard with a big red cross on it, haven't you? What's in the box? So I said, oh, it's a first aid box. There's bandages and eye drops and all things like that for if there's an accident. She said, there isn't a red cross in it then like Daddy's. So I said, I don't know what you mean, darling. So I brought the box and showed it to her and showed what was inside it. She then said that Daddy had told her that there was a red cross. I had a red cross like he had a red cross. And the lady held her down. Her daddy had a big camera on his shoulder, which I take to be a camcorder. And he told her that he knew this would hurt her, but it would mean that she was nice. And he inserted this cross, this crucifix, into her rectum. And as he was doing this, they were filming it, and the lady was telling her, I like doing this, don't you? I told her I didn't have any Red Cross and that Daddy had lied about that. Then my son, who wasn't quite 2 and who wasn't really that fluent, told me that, oh yes, they'd done the same thing to him with the Red Cross, and they'd told him it meant he was nice, only it was outside and he had to sit in the middle of a big circle of fire when they did that to him. My son talked of being tied to trees and smeared with excrement and left for what, I don't know how long, but it seemed a very long time to him. This child wasn't 2. He was a baby. He was my baby. When he was home, he was my baby. And he was left in the woods, sexually abused, tied upside down and smeared with excrement and just deserted. And then they come back. This is the fear, to instill the fear into them all the time, the fear. So as then they're more amiable, they're more quiet, they're more meek, they're more consenting. They don't kick up a fuss when they want to sexually abuse them. And
they cut my feet and dripped the blood into a bowl of some sort and then mixed it with somebody else's blood and then proceeded to bit down my neck. Then after that, 5 or 10 people took turns to urinate and shit on me, for want of a better word. And then I was buggered.
In de getuigenissen komt steeds weer hetzelfde gruwelijke verhaal naar voren. Tijdens rituelen zouden kinderen en volwassenen worden geofferd aan Satan.
Probably one of the worst things that I had to do was sacrifice one of my own children. I'm trying. I was about 16, been going out with this girl that was involved in Satanism. She fell pregnant, and the same day that the child was born, I had to kill it.
Volgens de getuigen gaan satanisten op mensenjacht. Ze zoeken mensen die kind nog kraai hebben, vaak zijn het zwervers. Ze doden ze en gebruiken hun bloed voor de rituelen.
the blood would then be smeared over the children, and the children would be sexually abused. The body would then be chopped up and cooked, and a table would be set with all silver cups and everything else, like a dinner party. And the flesh of this person that they'd killed would be eaten, and their blood would be drunk, and a black mass would take place. And she even could recite the prayers.
De satanisten aanbidden de natuurlijke vijand van het christendom, Satan. Het symbool van Satan is het pentagram. Dit is een 5-puntige ster waarin je horens, oren en een sik kunt onderscheiden. Het fenomeen wordt al sinds eeuwen beschreven. Het moderne satanisme vindt zijn oorsprong in Aleister Crowley. Hij leefde van 1875 tot 1947 en werd beschouwd als de grootste duivel op aarde. Crowley heeft veel boeken geschreven over het satanisme. Hierin hamerde hij er voortdurend op hoe belangrijk bloedoffers aan Satan zijn. Bloed is leven en bevat veel energie. Om deze energie vrij te krijgen moeten de slachtoffers worden gedood. Crowley beweert dat hij zelf ongeveer 2400 mensen heeft geofferd. Het meest bevredigend, zo schrijft hij, is het bloed van een onschuldig, dus pas geboren, jongetje.
A child, when it is first born, is innocent and pure. It's untouched, it's unspoiled.
nothing bad has ever entered that child. That child's thoughts are pure. So they sacrificed that to the devil as the child being pure. Because all things pure are feared by Satanists and also by the devil. So if you've got something pure and you destroy it, you take away the purity and there's no longer a threat there.
They really do think that if they can take away innocence and give it to Satan, that they're giving him the greatest gift of all. And so it has they do it for all kinds of reasons. The first reason is to dirty the child inside and out, and the second reason is to destroy the innocence.
Child sacrifice is basically like a gift to like the devil, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him. You turn around and you do it and you make it a gift to him. It's a soul, you know, that's what they want. They want to give people's souls to him.
De getuigenissen, de verhalen dat kinderen en volwassenen worden geofferd, roepen natuurlijk vragen op. Hoe kan het waar zijn? Waar zijn de sporen? Waar zijn de lichamen? Het zijn vragen waar ook psychotherapeute Vera Diamond mee worstelt.
You've got a young woman who thinks she's had a baby but can't quite remember. Is this possible? Is it possible for things to happen to you that you've forgotten and you're beginning to remember? So I would say it is possible. Let's talk about it. And gradually the story would emerge of a young woman in her 20s who may have had anything up to 6 babies as a young woman between the ages of, or a young girl, between the ages of 11, 12, up to the early 20s, which were aborted and used for sacrifice in a variety of ways in covens.
Ook journalist Fred Harrison worstelde met de ongelofelijke verhalen. Maar hij is tijdens zijn onderzoek naar meer dan 30 gevallen van ritueel misbruik ervan overtuigd geraakt dat wereldwijd duizenden mensen per jaar worden geofferd.
In Britain alone, for example, the number of young people from the age of 7 or 8 up to early teens who go disappearing from their homes every year, never to be seen again, is counted in the tens of thousands. Annually, they're never seen again. It's assumed they end up in London as prostitutes and so on, but some of these are very small children. And there's no evidence that children of 8, 9, 10 are being used as prostitutes in London. So where have they gone? The numbers are very large. And so if our society can handle that kind of a disappearance on that scale, then we have to accept the possibility, in theory at least, that the number of people who are said to be sacrificed is not an unreasonable estimate.
Waterdicht bewijs is nooit gevonden. Er zijn geen sporen, geen lichamen, geen wapens. Toch vertellen duizenden kinderen en volwassenen over de hele wereld dezelfde soort verhalen. Zij vormen dan ook, zegt een groot aantal deskundigen, het levende bewijs. Emily, een ander slachtoffer, heeft net 80 aspirinetabletten geslikt. Ze nam meer dan 600 keer een overdosis. En Steve prikt een naald in zijn been om zijn geestelijke pijn om te zetten in lichamelijke pijn.
Then somebody handed me a dagger and said finish him. I objected and then I had a knife forced into my throat. And I know for a fact that if I hadn't done what they said, then I'd have been swapping places with him. So I stabbed him in the throat. They weren't happy with that. I had to continue doing it and doing it and doing it. After that was done, they forced me to actually suck the open wound and suck the blood out of the cut. And then they burnt him.
They're all in the same boat. They've all suffered as children. They develop a tremendous trust so they can tell their darkest secrets knowing that they won't be betrayed.
And I never felt a human being.
Iemand die ritueel misbruikt is, ontwikkelt volgens Jim Phillips altijd NPS, een meervoudig persoonlijkheidssyndroom. NPS wordt volgens Phillips vaak verward met schizofrenie of een andere psychopathische ziekte.
There's a little bit I'd like to say before that.
The development of multiple personality disorder is a type of auto-hypnosis where if a child's mind is subjected to psychotrauma, abuse, the child's normal mind, what I call the virgin mind, just cannot cope with that psychic trauma. And the child's defense mechanism is to develop an imaginary friend who will take on that abuse. That imaginary friend, if the abuse continues, which it usually does, which it always does in case of MPD, develops into a personality.
Zolang een kind wordt misbruikt, ontwikkelt het steeds meer deelpersoonlijkheden. Door over te schakelen op een ander, lijkt het net alsof het misbruik die ander en niet jezelf overkomt.
And it's been like a shield to stop the host personality suffering anything. And you know what, you want to hold on to it. You want that shield. But at the end of the day, that shield is doing no good to you. So you've got to get rid of it. But it's so easy to hold on to it because it stops you being hurt.
Patients don't know they have multiple personality disorder. They have voices in their head, so they think they're mad. They have memory lapses. They have different styles of handwriting. They'll see clothes in their wardrobes that they don't remember buying. They'll see in their bank accounts, won't remember how on earth they wrote that check. And this is a typical sort of story. These personalities have different personalities per se. They may be violent, they may be depressed, they may be sexualized, they may be anorexic, they may be bulimic, they may be self-mutilators. The personalities often are similar to the abusers.
Vaak worden mensen die geloven dat ritueel misbruik bestaat, belachelijk gemaakt of erger. Dat overkwam ook Andy Kroll. Hij was directeur van een organisatie voor maatschappelijk werk. Kroll moest weg na de zogenaamde Broxtown-zaak.
There were a number of children taken to parties by their parents and their uncles and aunties and were abused. These children were abused by a number of adults at certain locations. And this case was brought to court and a successful prosecution. Up to 9 adults were taken and eventually imprisoned on the evidence of abuse to these children. However, the evidence was about direct physical and sexual abuse to these children.
De samenleving reageerde geschokt. De kinderen werden in opvanghuizen ondergebracht. En daar begonnen ze te vertellen over de gruwelijke feesten, over heksen, drugs en dierenoffers. De maatschappelijk werkers rapporteerden de zaak aan de politie, omdat ze dachten aan een netwerk van satanisten.
That is where the difficulty began, because it was a difficulty for the police that having had a successful prosecution and obtained the imprisonment of a number of people, the stories the children were bringing were now a bit bizarre in terms of ordinary living life. And they began to ask the social workers to bring evidence of some of the things the children were saying.
Good evening, welcome to Central News in the East Midlands. An independent report into Britain's biggest child sex abuse...
It's hard to bring evidence of something that a child is saying, and we were asking the police, the social services were asking the police to seek that evidence, but the police without evidence were not prepared to reopen the case.
People have often said to me, you know, how do I know that children aren't lying? How do social workers and doctors and everybody... Well, a very low percentage of children lie about this particular kind of problem, or any kind of child sexual abuse. Sometimes because of their tender years, they don't even have the know-how to put this into words unless they've experienced it. And because you know the fear mechanisms around the child cannot be in any way done in any artificial way. That these children are genuinely, absolutely terrified.
I've now met mainly the mothers of a large number of families. I'm sorry. Who have given very detailed accounts of what their children have disclosed. And I've seen the children, and I don't believe that they were making up those stories. Forgive me for being a bit emotional about it, but anybody who is exposed to this particular crime for any length of time is left scarred by the knowledge.
I met chief constables, doctors, lawyers, priests, people from high up in authority that actually do practice Satanism.
Nurses, doctors, lawyers. There was judges that I'd been up in court in front of, involved.
I think it was the false dream of power. The promise of being turned into a modern-day Merlin. The only thing they turned me into was a psychopath. I've killed people, I've hurt, abused, used people.
The older child does remember. She doesn't remember it all. She remembers quite a lot of it. And she remembers that it was her father. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how my kids are going to turn out. I think they've got every excuse in the world to turn bad. We'll just have to wait and see.